It's not about becoming dark from the standpoint of wickedness or just becoming some type of bad guy. That's not what I mean. Actually, where I'm getting this kind of discussion from is, well, this type of topic per se, because no one that I'm aware of has had this type of discussion. But basically, Luke Skywalker, unlike Anakin Skywalker, took on the dark side, but he studied it. He didn't take on the dark side to become part of it. Kind of like when law enforcement has to learn about different drugs and stuff like that without becoming addicted to drugs. So Anakin, he got consumed by the darkness, and we see what that resulted in. Luke Skywalker was different in the sense that he took on the darkness to learn about it, to learn how to not really harness it, but keep it at bay, to where he understood the darkness in the sense of how he can overcome that with the bright side, with love, basically learning about which alleys to avoid, roads you shouldn't take, learning more about what you shouldn't do. That's what Luke Skywalker did with embracing the darkness. And I say this for nice guys in these times, you have to pretty much do the same thing because there's a lot more darkness out here, more than what you can bear to just, more than what you can bear to just not realize, basically. Like, it's out here. It's becoming more prevalent as the days go by. A lot of the feminine are becoming darker as we speak. It's gotten bad. But in this, you learn how to shine more with love. And she would have to get out of her own darkness to embrace your light. See, what happens is a lot of guys become more dark to try to shed light to her. No, she has to want to be brought up to the light. You might have a candlelight at the end of the tunnel, or you might open the door for her to walk to the door. Like, that's as much light as you should emit in her life, in the sense of where you're trying your best to let her know, hey, I don't mind wanting to be a certain way to you as a man, but you have to want that. You're not going to go any further than that, though, because you understand how much darkness you see amongst her. Even if, let's say, you got somewhat involved with her and you start to see a lot of her ways, even more so, that's as far as you're going to go with it. That's as far as you're going to go within her cave or caverns. You've seen enough to know that she's probably a little bit too deep in her darkness to come out to the surface, to the edge of the tunnel. With a nice guy in these times, just know, especially through a lot of the wickedness you had to experience, that's part of how you tap into the dark side without becoming dark. You really have to go through things. If this really helps as far as embracing the dark side, you'll have to go through some treacheries. You'll have to go through some people walking out of your life. You'll have to go through some betrayals, a gal cheating on you. But you don't become cold. You don't become heartless. Embrace what has happened. But yet, despite of that, you still have this purity of love that shines through all that darkness, but only if one wants that love. You still walk in forgiveness. You don't hold grudges. You just know where to go and where not to go, especially with her. Like, you literally tell her, I don't think we can go that way. I tried that way with you. That doesn't work. And stand on that. And, that's her life lesson. Man try to be with you a certain way and you didn't want it. You didn't receive it. You didn't appreciate it. And there's not a likelihood of you finding another man that will love you a certain way that you just had, but you didn't appreciate. Keep this in mind going forward, especially in these times as they continue to get dark. You have to represent that beacon of light. Some people will want to try to take that light out, but there's more light than dark. That's for sure. There's still that brightness there. There's still this sense that in your life, you're not letting darkness consume you, despite the darkness you had to go through. You had to pretty much embrace it to understand the way this world is. You use it as your fuel. Some people don't understand this. Some people see it as you dwelling in the past, when really you're just using that as fuel to move forward. See, a lot of people don't understand that. You have to have something that motivates you. And sometimes that might be the darkness you had to encounter in your lifetime, but you don't let it consume you. Because, see, that's what happens, right? With a rocket that doesn't use that fuel to propel itself, that rocket becomes consumed and it what explodes right on sight. Keep that in mind about the darkness, if that helps some, if that makes sense to some. Thanks a million.